We go now to an author of a book, Bobby Kimbrough, Jr., and Bobby has seen firsthand the impact of bad choices and split-second decisions in law enforcement. His book is called Surviving the Stop, and he offers advice to officers and the rest of us on how to keep an incident like the one where we had the unarmed black man in Miami who was shot by a police officer this week from happening to us. Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us on the Drive at 5.
Pleasure's mine. Thank you for having me.
All right. Well, tell me, first of all, what is your background? I know that you are a senior special agent, or you're finishing up that with the Department of Justice.
Yes, ma'am. As a matter of fact, I just finished up today. Today was my last day. Spent 21 years as a special agent with the U.S. Department of Justice. I started my career as a local police officer in North Carolina and as a state officer in North Carolina.
Okay, and you want to prevent this type of thing from happening again. What can we do?
Yes, ma'am. The book is called Surviving the Stop. The purpose of the book was to supply the reader an understanding of a world that they may not understand. In other words, that the person that stops them is a human being, and what determines what takes place on that stop is an experience, the experience they give the officer and the behavior. A lot of times when an officer stops someone, there's a lot of leverage in which the officer has to make a decision, anything from a verbal warning, a written warning, to a citation. And a lot of times the attitude that comes into play determines a lot. In the book, what we're suggesting is that the atmosphere is changeable. If you look back over some of the situations that have happened in the last year or so, the atmosphere that created that between the officer and the civilian. If we change the atmosphere on some of these stops in just everyday life, we can change the outcome, and that's the premise of the book.
And what should you or should you not say during a stop with a police officer?
Well, one thing that you should do is, one thing that any officers tell you, that he's concerned about his safety and the people around him. So keep your hands visible and follow his instructions. That is key. Keep your hands visible and follow the instructions.
Well, we had the guy down here, there's video, his arms were up in the air, and he said, I don't have a gun, and he got shot in the leg. It's under investigation, but apparently the officer felt that the other individual, the autistic person, was the threat, and he missed and hit the other guy.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that on the news. But what you have to understand is that there are about 1 million plus stops that take place every year throughout the United States. We're dealing with imperfect people, imperfect situations, and every now and then you're going to have an imperfect outcome. And the thing that people must realize is that the officer is not the problem. They're just responding to the problems of society. What we're having or what we're seeing in America, as the divide line gets wider, is that police officers are human beings, and what we must understand is not a police problem, it's our problem. We've got to start to address some of our own bigotries. Sure, there are some police officers that shouldn't be police officers. I'll be the first to tell you that. There's probably some preachers that shouldn't be preachers. There's some lawyers that shouldn't be lawyers. But what I'm saying is the whole profession of law enforcement as a whole, from what I've seen of 30 years of my career in law enforcement, as a whole, you have men and women who come to serve and protect with that only mission in mind. So I understand that mistakes have happened, and my heart goes out to those that have been a victim to serve and protect, and my heart goes out to those that have lost their lives while serving.
Thank you. I have to wrap it up. I really appreciate it, Bobby Kimbrough. The book is called Surviving the Stop.